Hello my friends, welcome to Curiosity Created. Today we are I want to kind of go over show you my journey as I'm learning how to do computer gaming or computer graphics. So I'm going to kind of show you what I did was I created this little scene. Now if you want to see the viewport of this, I have nothing on the surface. So as I hit play, but basically just spawn two cubes. Now it's simple, everybody can do it, I know. But I want to kind of do it procedurally. So that means, meaning through code. So let me I'm going to start, and I'll make about a spheres this time. And I'll make a new level. First things first, what do I need to do? Windows. I'll learn how to do all this today too, so bear with me a second. Project settings. Okay, so first things first, I think I need to put a camera in here. Yep. Checked. Okay. I want to get rid of the player start. I want to add my own camera. Okay. So I didn't want any movement. Oops. Oh, wrong way. I didn't want any movement. I'm just trying to frame it up a little bit. And then you set that to player 1. Now if I found this hotkey, Alt P does that. I think there's no movement. Okay, good. Alright, so exit to exit that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start up a new blueprint. And this is a scenes component. I don't know if it's the best way to go, but it seems to work. And I'm going to say new. And again, I'm learning this myself right now, so it's not something I'm really familiar with. Okay, a new scene. Before we go into that, I'm just going to make a new folder. Just love it. I'll move this into that so it's a little cleaner. Okay, so I'm going to make a couple of blueprints for the cube. Or I'll do spheres this time. Go cream and yellow. Oops, probably spelling that wrong. I did spell it wrong. Spelling is not my strong suit. Sorry, guys. And I'll duplicate that because I'll wait till I get in there and finish it. Okay, I've never had that screen before. So the viewport, I'm going to add a sphere. There's static mesh. I think that's probably a better way to do it. Static mesh, and then this, I'm going to go to sphere. If I could spell. Okay, this might be even a little easier. Need to add the material to that. I need to create a material. I'm going to grab one of these for the color, and this is green. But it's not going to be green. There. Base color. Save. And apply. This computer is a little slow, so no, that's still not a good color. Okay, so add that to this right here. Didn't name it, that's fine. Duplicate that, make the yellow. And apply. Yellow. I did F2 to get the name of that. Now the sphere. Add the material color. Came up top, nice. Compile and save. I'll duplicate that. Yellow sphere. Into it and change the color. Static mesh. Yellow. Compile. Save. before I start editing that, I want to be able to test it. So I'm going to go to Blueprints, Open Level Blueprints, and then the begin play of the level. I'm going to go, what did I call that? New scene. I think that's all I did on the other one. And in here, when this gets called after when what did I do first? I think it was spawn actors from class. And first of all, I just tested it with a sphere. So with a square in that time, but so with one of these. And I didn't change anything for this. This is how spawn transport pin. I don't know why that failed. Because I didn't change anything, I just split them apart to see what it was. But anyways, there you go. I got a green square. If I wanted to exit that, to stop playing. Now if I wanted it to be yellow, I could just go yellow. File and save and play. There. And I could actually even call up the ones from the previous class, I think. Cancel that out by going cubes, because they're all actors. Oops, it's still playing. So if I went blue cube, it should show up for that too. Okay, I want to just change the location first. Go back to one of the spheres. Need to split this again because I don't want to do it a whole array. The Z is fine. Oh, before I forget, okay, so before I forget, the sphere doesn't look like it's a problem, but I had to adjust the cube because it was sitting below the ground. So I went in here and just adjusted the transform here. So it'd sit on the ground. But the sphere doesn't look like it's a problem, so that's fine for this case. But just so you know, just so if you ever come across that with a cube, it did take a little bit more fiddling to get it down. It's just because where the transform is on a cube. If I add cube to the scene, See how it sits into the floor normally? So it has to be pulled up. And I think that was like 20 or something. I don't know what it was, but it took a little bit of time to figure it out. So I kept having that problem too. Alright, so we'll go back into the scene. Now, I want to be able to spawn more than one of these, and I don't want them to be stacked on top of each other, so I'm going to take the Y transform, and I can do the same thing with the X or the Z if I wanted to go forward and back. This is X direction, and this is Y direction. And you can see that by the arrows. So the green is a Y, red is X, and if blue is the Z axis. So it starts out at 0, 0. You could probably move this around and start wherever you want, but in this situation, the default is this is 0, 0. And so if I move it to the positive, it goes this way, and negative, it goes this way. So I want to make a couple of variables to store that. So I'm going to do the current variable, the current location, the default location. And this is where I'm going to start it. So I'm going to make this a float. And that doesn't need to change anything, it's just going to stay 0. You have to compile to change these numbers. And I also need, and so if I did this right now, I can do a get, so you just drag it in, and that gives you that variable. And I can do a get because I just want to get the value out of that. And I'm going to drag this into the Y, or any of them. This is just 0, so it could actually go in any position. And I hit play, and it just goes right back there because all I was doing is putting that 0 back into that spot. So that's going to be my starting location, and I could change that to that too. That might actually be a better term for it. So start. So that's my starting spot, and then I'm going to do a for loop because I want to loop through a few times, but I know how many times I want to do it. So I'm going to use a for loop. There it is. In a for loops, the index starts at 0 by default. So if I want 2 of them, I go 2. Not 1, because then I'll loop through this cycle twice. But I need one more. I need probably 2 more variables, but at least 1 more variable. And I need that by the offset, or the size of the sphere. And compile. I don't know what the size of this is, so I'll have to kind of guess. Say 100. It may be wrong on the size of that, but well, this is whatever the size of the sphere is. And then what I wanted to do is I wanted to take the start, add it to that, so zoom out. After this spawns the first one, because I want the first one to be at my start location. So I'm going to set the start again. Or I could just take the start, drag it over, and do set. Execute it. So right now it's just going to set it to 0, which is the default what it is. Well, it doesn't matter. I'm not going to, that doesn't doesn't really do us anything for today. So we need so we're going to take the size and the start, get and get. I want to add these two together. So what I did is I just added those two together. I'm new with all this stuff, I apologize for. And then I'm going to take that and put it into this position. So the value, the size, plus whatever position it is, it's going to be start is going to be redone. That's why current is probably a better one, but it doesn't matter. So what this should do is, because it's just a green sphere, it should make two spheres right next to each other. And I might have the size wrong, so I'm going to have to change that. But yeah, look at it. They're right next to each other, so 100 is the size. That was the size of the cube, so I figured it was the same. But I also want to add another pin here because I want to add an offset between them. So I'm going to add an offset. So I don't want the cubes sitting right next to each other. And compile. And I want that offset size to be 10. Or 20. I think I did 20 on the other one. So I'm going to do that here. Get offset. Or get. So now that's going to also be added. So what should happen now is we should have a space in between the two spheres. So see, we have a little space right there. And so that's the main body, but now I want to change. Let me get rid of the event tick, we don't use it. I'm going to move all this stuff down a little bit. Make some space for our next thing. And if I change that start, by the way, that'll be just a change of, say I want to start it at, I don't know, 200. If I compile, save, and play, the balls are moved over a little bit. So that start is just wherever the starting, that's just my name, I've named it. Again, there's probably better names for it. But this here is a class. A class is whatever the name of the blueprint is that we used, because that was a blueprint class, right? So what I want to do is I want to make this into a variable. So you can make this in a variable over here too. I don't know if you can see that underneath there, but object type, actor, class reference. I need it to be an array. So in this case, I'll compile, save. Because this is an actor class, I need to add this in. So I hit the plus button to add an element to it, and I can type in green sphere. And so there's only one element in here. I can move this over here. This gives that reference to that, but there's a whole group of here, so I got to tell them which one to use, because I can't just take that and stick it here. It won't work. So I need to get, because an array is a collection of objects. Right now there's only one, so I could just have used one, but I'm going to add another one in there. So I need to add a get. I know that was actually, should check. Okay. So that was that option. And this here is an index or an integer. It just tells you which one that I have. Now this one only has 0. You can see that by this number right here. That has to match there. And then you can hook that up to this class, because now we're telling it we need this index of this array. to go there, and that's it, and it's the green one because it's the only one there is. Now if I compile and save, and I should push play, oh yeah, it made 2 copies of it. So if I change this to the yellow in my array here, in this array thing, or I change this to the yellow sphere, compile, save, it'll be yellow spheres. Okay? But what I want to do is I want to add more things to this. So I'm going to push pause, and I have the yellow one already in there, so I'm going to do green sphere. Now, I could make another variable and change it, like what's going over here, but this is an integer, right? Because it's a green pin, and this is also an integer. And what happens in a for loop is every time this goes through, this goes up 1. So the first integer, the first time through, the number that comes out of here is 0. The second time that comes through, the number that comes out of here is 1. And it would go up until however many. So if I had 3 times going through, we'd get an error because there's not an next thing to do, but it would just go, the exit number for after the second, it'd go 0, 1, 2, 3, and then it would stop because it's the third and last index. So every time this fires, this index number is changed and it sends out that number. So this is probably not the safest way to do this because you don't know. You could probably do. I'll show you. I think a safer way to do that if I can. But anyways, I'm going to keep the index number that comes out of here to determine the number, which index of the array it is. So save. Now it should be a, what is it? A yellow sphere and then a green sphere. I play, I get a yellow sphere and then a green sphere. Just like that. Now, this I kind of want, because I don't want, if I do, I think this will probably, if I put anything higher than that, it should probably crash the system, and I'm not going to do it because it's going to give an error when it comes here if there's no index. I don't actually know what it's going to do. So, what I want to do is I want to set this to this. So, I think I can. Yeah, get length. Okay, nice. So this should, it's a little bit of a mess. So I'm going to move this out of the way. The get length should return the value of that. Now this only has this array of 2, so it's going to be 0. That, so this hopefully will work. Play. Okay, good. So that's giving me an array of length of 2, so it's going to go 0, 1, and that's going to be the number there. I believe that's how that would work. If I break that, I'm going to. So now if I add more, say my cubes, I want to add the cubes in there. So I'm going to add the cubes to that array, the blue cube and the red cube. Compile that I made earlier. I'm going to change that start also, so start it back a little bit. Let's say -200. Now if I play it, it should just cycle through that whole array. If that makes sense. So this get length will return the length, and that's what I'm using to determine the length of my for loop. So it's just going to cycle through each of these elements of this array, spawning an actor there and moving it over with this pin. Now I know this is probably a little confusing. It's kind of confusing for me. I'm just learning, so there's better tutorials, but I'm learning this myself, and I think it's better for me to try to reword what I'm saying. I think that's how I learn best, so that's kind of why I'm doing this. I'm not really trying to teach anybody anything, but I just want to I want to learn how to do this, and rehashing it out is the way to do it. But if you got anything out of this, I'm kind of happy and surprised. But oh, and also I could do this way, and it would move in the other direction. So it'll move in the X location. So now it's that way, and same thing in the, if I change this to the Z location. Yeah, it went down below. So if I eject this F8, but anyways, that's what happened there. It went down below. So I changed my start. Let's do that at 0. They all stack up on top of each other. Anyways, so I hope you got something out of this. Otherwise, I'll keep doing these and seeing what I get. I want to try to do this, at least something with computers, because I want to make a video game at some point. But I need to learn a lot, so I'm just kind of learning it by playing around with this. So I might be doing modeling with Blender and other things too, but right now today was my first one. So anyways, this is kind of been a test. Thank you for joining along with me, and I'll see you later. Bye.